Hi, new teachers. Tabitha Strickler back again for your September message. Before we get started on our topic today, we just wanted to let you know that the hope of VASCD and Virginia Teacher of the Year Network, we really hope that you and all of Virginia's students will be safe during and in the aftermath of Hurricane Florence. Our thoughts are with you. Our topic today has to do with positive communication with parents, and I am here with my favorite newish teacher, Stephanie Root. She teaches here at Colonial Heights High School, and she teaches 9th grade English collaboration, and she's fantastic. That's why I've brought her to be with you today. What kind of stuff was important for you as a first-year teacher that you kind of learned about as you went along?
Well, definitely one of the most important parts that I learned going into teaching was the importance of having positive communication with parents and establishing that good rapport with parents coming into teaching.
Yeah, that is so important, not just as a first-year teacher, but as you go throughout your career. So Stephanie and I have come up with 5 tips. It's a top 5 for the best practices to better communicate with parents. And our first tip has to do with reaching out to parents at the beginning of the school year. Within the first month or week, potentially, of school, try to make contact with all parents and guardians. It really does go a long way. Depending on the number of students that you teach, you could make a phone call, a personal phone call, or if it's too many that's not feasible, maybe an email would be more sufficient. But what kinds of things should we cover in that first point of contact?
Well, we definitely should cover, if the parents weren't able to attend the orientation at the beginning of the school year, including a little bit about yourself is always important. That way they kind of become familiar with who you are, even if it's just something simple as what's your favorite color. Also including, it's important to talk about maybe your contact information, what's the best way to communicate with you, time to communicate with you, and also talk about maybe activities upcoming in the school year.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. And then once you've made that first contact, tip number 2 is about creating a routine of communication. Whether it's monthly, or if you're feeling ambitious, maybe twice a month, or if you are not a new teacher, I don't know how you could do this, but weekly maybe. But if you can work that in, but no matter what it is, it's important to make that contact on a regular basis. An update on the progress of their child and what you've been working together on class, in class. It really, parents are surprised. You'd be surprised how much that means to them, that contact regularly.
Yes, absolutely. In my classroom, we always have a monthly newsletter where we include a little bit about what we've been working on in class, and also some activities that are going on in school, or some things that maybe what we're working on in like the unit we're in. And sometimes throughout the semester, I like to also include some photographs of them completing activities, and that kind of gives the parents a sense of that they are with their students and they feel like they know what's going on and they're not disconnected from them. They feel a connection.
Absolutely. All of this is just feeding into tip number 3, which is making communication a positive experience. It's inevitable that sometimes we will have to make contact with parents over something not so good, whether it's academic or behaviorally, but it really is important that when those behaviors occur to take action then. It might be even harder as a new teacher. You might not want to make that contact, but it's really important that parents don't feel blindsided later, that they know what's coming and what's been happening.
Yes, absolutely. Making that initial contact in the beginning of the year is so important. That way when you do get to the issues of behavior, or maybe the student isn't making the progress that they could be making, that when you reach out to the parents that you're not surprising them or blindsiding them, and that kind of will alleviate some of the stress or the strain between you and the parent.
Absolutely. Tip number 4 is to create boundaries with parents. As much as we long to have a perfect connection with our parents and our guardians and our students, sometimes we need to set those boundaries. I know at our school, and probably for you too, you might have been advised to not give out your personal information, not to become Facebook friends, for example, with parents of your students. And that really is a good idea. There are some other methods, though, of getting around that and being able to make contact, but without your own personal information. I know the service Remind, and you can go to remind.com, or Google offers Google Voice, which is a similar technique that you could make phone calls and accept phone calls, but not showing your regular personal phone number.
Yeah, definitely. And that also kind of creates that boundary that you want, which, maintains that professional rapport that you need in the classroom. That way you're not getting too personal in a situation where something may be a circumstance where it becomes uncomfortable, and the parent isn't using personal information or personal knowledge of you against you or in the circumstance that might not be favorable.
Absolutely. That is kind of a rule of thumb, like be better safe than sorry, right? Yeah. And finally, tip number 5 is one that it's hard sometimes to do, but it really is important to respond to parents in a timely manner. Mm-hmm. We want to really uphold that positive communication that we've built since the beginning of the school year. So really making that contact back when we've heard about parental concerns really within 24 hours is ideal. If not 24 hours, as soon as you can after that, I think is important.
Right. And if you come across a parent, which you may, who doesn't understand the boundaries or respect your boundaries, it's always important to reach out to your administrative team just to let them know what's going on. That way, if something was to escalate, that you could it could be handled right away before anything serious comes away from it.
Absolutely. We really are excited to be with you here this month and to talk about parental communication. Remember our 5 tips. Reach out to parents at the beginning of the school year. Create a routine of communication. Mm-hmm. Take communication with parents in a positive experience. Create boundaries with parents. And lastly, to respond to parents in a timely manner. We hope the best for your school year and your contacts with parents. We can't wait to see you in October, where you'll receive another message from a Teacher of the Year in Virginia on a special topic. Tune in.